Hi, Jeremy Crow here. I'd like to tell you the story of the Descent of Ishtar into the underworld. This is one of the oldest stories that we have available. It was written in cuneiform on clay tablets in ancient Mesopotamia. So the story originated in Sumer and was taken on by the Babylonians, who were the successor of the Sumerian culture. And I'll be telling the Babylonian version. So Ishtar, who was associated with the planet Venus, shows up at the gates of the underworld and starts smashing on the door. The gatekeeper shows up and she says, "Listen, if you don't open this door, I'm going to smash it down, break the bolt, the hinges are going to come right off, I'm going to utterly destroy this gate. I'm going to call up the dead to eat the living to the point where the dead will outnumber the living." So essentially she's threatening to bring about the zombie apocalypse, which is probably the earliest instance of any kind of mention of the zombie apocalypse. I mean, of course they didn't use the word zombie, but So the gatekeeper is like, "Oh, whoa, hold on, lady. Let me go tell my mistress what you said." So the gatekeeper goes down to the Queen of Hell, Ereshkigal. Actually, it's not Hell, it's Kur or Kurnugi, and tells her, "Your sister's here. She wants in real bad." And she's like, "What? What the hell? What could she possibly be angry at me about? Like, what's turned her against me? She can't be jealous of me. I eat dust for bread, and I'm constantly depressed over all the young couples that are separated by death, and the babies that are snatched from their cribs, and all these. It's not fun necessarily. I have to witness all kinds of misery." And she's like, "You know what? Bring her in, but treat her like a mortal. Bring her through all the regular steps that you would go through in bringing a mortal down." So the gatekeeper says, "Okay, come on in," but and then takes her crown off, takes Ishtar's crown off. She's like, "Why did you just take off my crown?" And because these are the rights of the mistress of the earth. This is just how it is. It's how it's done. So she goes down to the second gate. He takes off her earrings. She's like, "Why did you take off my earrings?" And he goes, "This is the rights of the mistress of earth. This is what happens." And it continues along that way. The next one is the beaded necklaces, then a toggle pin around the heart, then a belt of birthstones, and then bangles on the wrists and ankles. And finally, at the seventh gate, she's stripped of her body garment, and she's completely naked, has none of her implements. And let me just adjust this here because the sun is coming up. Okay. And finally she's down there at the very end and comes face to face with her sister, the dread Queen Ereshkigal of Kur. And she is not happy. Ereshkigal becomes furious and says, "Seize her!" And they bind her. They attack her with, I think, something like 60 demons. Attack different parts of her. And she's hung up on a hook. Now, what's going on in the earth right at this point is that they say, all the fertility is gone. Like, none of the plants are reproducing. The bull and the cow are not are separate. They're not even interested in each other. The young man sleeps in his own bed, is one of the things that it says. And so the gods start to get freaked out. They're like, uh-oh, the whole world is turning to shit and we need Ishtar. So in one of the versions, Enki, the god of he's sort of like Prometheus in a lot of ways. He ends up creating this pure being, sometimes two, and it goes down into the pits of hell, right down to where Ishtar is, being bound and hung on a hook. They put the water of life on her and feed her the food of life. So it's sort of a bit of a communion type Eucharist, you could say. And then at that point, she comes back to life, or she's revitalized, and has the power to kind of overthrow death. And so then she goes back up through each of the gates and regains each of her garments as she goes. So there's a lot. And then also I think because she left the underworld, and nobody's ever supposed to leave the underworld, I think she needed to get somebody in her place, which I believe she had her husband, which I believe was Nergal, which is associated with the planet that we now call Mars. He ended up going down there, and because she was mad at him because he wasn't worried about, he wasn't missing her. He just was kind of doing his own thing, and he didn't even bother with the fact that she was down in the underworld. So Ereshkigal ends up marrying Nergal, and he stays down there for part of the time, and it's one of those kind of myths that's very similar to the myth of Persephone or Proserpine, depending on which pantheon of gods later on in history. It seems clear that this story was the inspiration for that Greek myth and the Roman myth of Proserpine and Persephone and Hades. But in that case, it was a little bit different because it was a king of hell that kind of snatched her down. But it's very similar because while the goddess of fertility is down there, things don't go well on Earth. And it's kind of like a myth of the seasons. So it's one of the oldest ones that we have of that. And I just wanted to share that. I hope you enjoyed it.